the morning time, because at 7:30 they go to the school, they return at 12 o'clock.
Hey guys, this is Huzaifa from my YouTube channel Positive Academy. Today we have amazing another candidate. Her name is Jyotsna, and she's just trying to share her journey, what he went through. Right, I will just give a brief introduction regarding her. She's an assistant professor from Delhi, and she has PhD at the young age of 25. She's involved in short stories, articles, essays, music videos. She has also performed in Doordarshan and has a lot of poetry awards also. She also does creative writing workshop, and she has inspired a lot of people with writing, music, creativity, and teaching. I would really like to admit that she is visually impaired 100%. She is having zero visibility. Right. So over to you, Jyotsna. I welcome to you to my channel. You can just start your journey.
Thank you,
From
Josefa. Thank you so much for
yeah,
inviting me here.
yeah.
Uh, Thank you so much. Uh, I'm so glad to be interviewed here. Yes, I would definitely be sharing some of the important experiences in my life. I'm from Andhra Pradesh. I'm from a place called Kaikalur, which is a town in Andhra Pradesh. Then afterwards, I have completed my schooling from a special school, which is usually it is there for the visually impaired people. It is in Narsipur. It is called Andhra Blind Model High School. I have studied there till my 10th standard. Then afterwards, I have studied my intermediate education in Kaiklur in the government junior college. Then afterwards, I have done my BA in English literature at Maristella College, Vijayawada. Then afterwards, I have done my PG, then PhD. Now I am working here in ARSD College, University of Delhi.
Yeah. Do you what kind of challenges have you find during this time? Because you were having this problem and you have gone through a lot of things. So what challenges were there?
There were many challenges because it was the kind of because of the visual impairment. The challenges happen to be there. For example, the reading part. So till my 10th standard, I have done my education in the braille mode. So in the school, they have taught us the braille. Then afterwards, I have joined my college. Then at the time also, I was using my braille. Then the real problem we used to have whenever the exams were there, we have to dictate our answers to the others who are writing. So sometimes they have to write slowly. Sometimes they may not understand what we are saying. We
Okay.
have the literature papers. So
Yes.
the names of the authors, they are not based on pronunciation. Like Gugi Wathiango, for example, we have this author. So we have to dictate the spelling as well. Sometimes what happens is by listening, the scribe happens to write whatever they feel. In that way, sometimes like we have to lose the marks. It happens to be a kind of a nervous kind of a space for the people, because we just have to wait if the scribe would come or not. So sometimes like we are so anxious on the day of the exam, so the moment the scribe comes, then we just have to feel okay, fine, the person has come finally to write the exam. So it happens to be there. So in the college, like I have studied in Maristella College, Vijayawada. There it was the teachers used to write for the visually impaired candidates. So there were not many problems at that time. Then, when I have registered for MA in English and Foreign Languages University, Hyderabad, everything happens to be different, because till that time I was using Braille to write my notes. But I have found that people were using computers. Then we have to give our assignments, computer typed assignments. Until that time, I didn't know typing. I was using only Braille. Then for the assignments, I used to make someone write the assignments. So when I have to do this, for example, like to learn the computers, it has taken the time. So I have registered for a computer course, then using the screen reader called JAWS, job access with speech. I have started learning computers. Then in the sense, like I have started preparing my assignments. Then afterwards also there were some experiences of discriminations. For example, I have completed my PhD. Before completing my PhD, I have appeared for national eligibility test. I have cleared that. Then I also thought that I may not get the in the sense like the assistant professorship in the colleges and universities. They may discriminate against my disability. So imagining that, I have concentrated on publishing my papers. Then I have acquired my papers as well. I have published. Even then I happen to be discriminated based on my disability. They happen to ask like, how would you teach, how would you control the class, how would you handle the class, how would you take the attendance. So these
Yes.
many questions I had, but finally I have got selected as the assistant professor here in ARSD college. Then in the sense like I have started again concentrating on my poetry research articles and all these aspects. So even now we can find the discrimination is very much there towards the visually impaired or any other disabled people.
Yeah, this is quite strange and very surprising because they are not focusing on the talent and they are just focusing on the weaknesses. But I would like to know what is that brain thing which you just told, that we need to learn brain to learn things. What was that thing?
Braille is the script. So we happen to use that. It is the braille slate we have. In that we insert the paper, then we write something which we have to remember. So it's a strenuous process. It involves writing much. Also, it takes time. But I used to do that, like in my literature classes as well. I used to take notes whenever the teachers were telling. So I had very good teachers in my college, in my UG. uh, Literature happens to be my favorite subject, so that's why I have pursued that literature for my masters as well. Then afterwards I have the computer. So now I don't use braille often, but I use sometimes. But mostly I use computers for doing my work, for reading, for writing, for typing, for sending creative works for magazines. For all these things I use computers.
Okay, okay. So now you are habitual for what you have just provided, right? And using tools, you do all these things, right?
Yes.
But you have suffered a lot of discrimination and problems in this process till now.
Yes.
So when you are facing these challenges and problems, don't you fail to give up? That okay, this is not for me, and I'm not meant for this. Did you felt like this?
I didn't feel that I have to give up, because there were people who would discriminate, but there were many people who were positive as well. Like I have studied in my mother language, that is Telugu. So till my plus two, I have completed my education in Telugu medium itself. Then in UG, I have taken literature. So obviously, it happens to be a challenge for the language as well. So, but the teachers were not, in the sense like they were not at all discouraging me. They were saying that till the moment you feel you get comfortable with English, you continue to speak in your language, then try to give the answers. So for one semester, it has taken place like that. So then afterwards, I have tried to use English for all the related aspects to the communication. Same thing happened in my PG as well. Till that moment, I was using handwritten assignments. I used to make people to write my assignments. So at that time, my professors told me that for one semester, till you learn computer typing, you continue this way of giving the handwritten assignments. The moment you learn, then you start preparing your assignments, the typed assignments. So in that way, they were giving the relaxations. So but my particular nature is not to go with the relaxations. I don't want the relaxations. I want to compete with other individuals. So
Yes, yes,
I just thought that I shouldn't give up. And initially, it happens to be a difficult thing. I knew about my strengths and weaknesses. My
yes,
weaknesses happen to be I'm not so fast in learning things. I'm not a very quick learner, but I
yes.
knew that with practice, I'll be able to learn. So initially, when I was trying to learn something, it takes some time. Then once I understand how it is functioning, then it just tells, okay, it's fine, this is the way we have to do, this is the way we have to learn. So in the sense like my strength is hard work. So I have realized that. Then I just thought, continue to work hard, then it would be easier for me. So I didn't give up at the time, even with the writing as well. So
Yes,
whatever field I have taken, I just try to think that never to give up.
yes, I salute to what you have done. I mean, there are only few people who can just make it out, and you are one of them. You are a gem to the society, I think, and the achievements that you have done are really amazing. You get also an award for poetry from the president, right? I guess. I just let me just share that thing, or maybe I will just share later. Let us just continue with the questions. So next, do you do any manifestation or visualization for your success till now? What you have achieved?
Yes, in the sense like I wanted to see myself in this position. In the sense like in I always visualized myself in a position where, in the sense like I can just show what I have achieved. Like I have, as I told you earlier, I had discriminations like for getting the admission itself. Also the place, for example, I am from this place in Andhra where the encouragement for the girls education is not really that much encouraged. These days people are changing. Also
Yes,
people tell me that, in the sense like after looking at my success, they also started sending their children, they also started giving importance to the education of the women. So they have realized the importance of education for women. So whatever in a smaller way, in the sense like my life happens to be somewhat encouraging for the others. So I feel that this is what I wanted. So now I feel that this is how I have visualized my success, and I'm happy with that.
really great, really amazing to hear all these things. Now, what made you choose this field? Were you having all the talents to this field, or you made this? What made you choose this field in whatever field
Literature
you are on?
in
Yeah.
literature is my interest since the beginning. I used to read, and books happen to be my interest. Earlier we couldn't have this much opportunity to read, so we were depending on the others to read. So that happens to be the problem. So till my UG it happens to be the problem. Once I'm able to download the books from the internet, now we are able to get ebooks. So with
Yes.
the screen reader, I can read the ebooks. Then my interest, in the sense like I am able to read a lot many books. So in this way, because literature is my interest, so I just wanted to pursue more towards my literature. Then I have got the required environment as well. In my college, the teachers, they were trying to inculcate this kind of passion regarding literature. Then
Yes.
in my MA as well, because I have done my MA from EFL University, which is one of the renowned universities. We have got the opportunity to listen to the prominent writers. So the professors themselves were good in creative writing. So I used to listen their lectures. Then I used to sharpen my creative writing aspects. Then because of the screen reader, I can also read magazines, papers. Then I can just understand how, what kind of poetry is being published today, what kind of short stories are being accepted. So in that way, in the sense like I have got the opportunity to work on my creative writing skills. So also I'm interested in music as well. So whenever I listen to a song, the lyrics happen to fascinate me. So in that way, I just thought literature is my interest. So in that way, I have started working on that. Then afterwards, I have registered for PhD. Then there was the scope for research. So in that way we can just find that it happened to be the opportunities which helped me to have, to sharpen or to inculcate this kind of interest.
Yeah, you have done youngest at the age of 25. You just completed the PhD, right? So, what made you do that at this
When
such
I have
early age of 25?
yes, when I have registered for the masters, then at the time itself I have decided that I should do my PhD after this MA. Then I used to have friends and my seniors as well, they were also suggesting me to write the national eligibility test, also to register for PhD. Then after my MA I have registered for PhD. Then it has taken in the sense, like my supervisors were also there, Professor G Tirupati Kumar sir and Professor Prakash Kona sir. They were also helping me, and they were also telling me to complete my thesis, and uh, to lay the argument for the thesis, the methodology for the thesis. So in that way, it just worked. Then initially I didn't know that I'm going to be the youngest person to complete the PhD. Once I have got the award, then I came to know that I happen to be the youngest person in completing PhD in English literature from the Indian University.
Yeah, let me just share the award that you just had. So this is the thing that Jyotsna just had an award, and this is from the president regarding the poetry award that thing was there, right? So it's really great to have you, and I would like to hear comment one thing that just a moment, that life is a journey and everyone suffers in life, but very few stands against the odd, and you are one of them. So what makes you strong? What?
In the sense, like, yes, again it happens to be books. The books which I have read, they made me think that whatever I have faced, the discrimination initially or the suffering or whatever it is, I just feel that the people have faced more discrimination and suffering than me. Like the autobiographical writings we have, One Little Finger by Malini Chip, The Incredible Story by Nasima Hurzuk, or Once Upon a Life by Temsula Av. So many autobiographical writings we can think of, the people have suffered uh, at various levels. So based on the caste, based on the gender, based on disability, so at all these levels people have suffered, but they were all able to come out of their present situation. So after reading these books, I just feel that whatever I have, I feel much privileged than the others who have suffered a lot, because I had the opportunities. I have met good people throughout my life. Like in my college, when I was a student, in my university, I have met good people. And the present college where I work, I have found very good, friendly, and supporting colleagues and supporting people throughout. So because of this, I just feel that I am much privileged. Then obviously I just feel that I should live up to the standards of my friends, well wishers, my parents, and my family members.
Yeah, so you got support from friends and family as well as you seek support from the books. You got
Yes,
inspired and motivation from reading a lot of books, especially
yes,
biographies. That's
yes.
really great. That's really amazing. Really great to know. And who is your role model right now? Who do you target? Who do you admire?
uh, a role model in terms of writing, I admire many of the writers. Jean Reeves, uh, her works I have worked on her for my PhD as well. I admire her writings a lot. So how she takes the subject, how she uses the language. So I admire her. In poetry, in terms of poetry, I have many poets I admire. In terms of music, I like many. Again, we can just find that I admire many people in music as well. So, in different, based on the field, I like many people in all these fields.
Yeah, and you also developed the interest in singing. So would you
Yes.
like to throw some light on that?
I have learned Carnatic earlier. Then now I have started learning Hindustani music. I like the classical music, Indian classical. So whenever I get time, I try to practice. I also suggest learning music to my friends and well wishers as well. I feel that learning music would give them much happiness and much contentment in life. It also helps the people in the overall development. So I just feel whatever it is, what music or dance, whatever it is, the art, I always feel like having disability is one thing, but I'm able to appreciate the art around me, the music around me,
Yes.
the good poem, I'm able to appreciate. So in a sense, like if I have to exchange a body without disability and a ability to appreciate things around me, I would definitely prefer that. uh, I prefer appreciating the things around me than having an abled body. That means I want to, in a sense, I just feel privileged that I'm able, not that I can sing or I can uh, write, but I can appreciate poetry and understand the nuances of it, understand the nuances of the swaras or the ragas. That itself, I just feel that I'm privileged, that I'm able to appreciate the beauty of the art.
Yes, yes. So you are having positive aspects much as compared to the negative side, and so it's really great. I mean, you are just amazing. You what you have done till now. So, what advice you have for a failure, for someone who is thinking that he or she is not good enough and is not able to make it? What advice you have for that person?
If I have to give an advice to people, I would suggest to read the books, because these days many people say that they have the issues concerning the mental health, like the situation which makes them feel depressed. So if one is going through such kind of a thing, I would suggest them to read the books, or if try to inculcate the habit of being positive, to look positive of themselves, and look for the opportunities, or in the sense try to appreciate the things around them, like the art or whatever, or and try to learn something, so that they can come out of this depressing kind of situation. If one is feeling depressed, or one is not having enough confidence, I would suggest you to learn something or do something which they have done so far.
Yes, yes, right. So, if you would like to add something, I have other few questions also. But before that, I would like to know from your end if you would like to add, which would add value to the people from your teachings, knowings.
In the sense, like I just wish to say that, like, we, even though we say that we are giving gender, in terms of gender we are progressing towards equality, but we can just find that equality is still, it is not there. The inequality is very much existed. The treatment of the girl child, the celebration of the birth of the girl child itself, very much discrimination we can find. In the sense, like, whenever in the sense, like, we have to address a problem, we can just think of the problem from the grassroots level. Then we can actually get the various aspects of any particular problem, particularly in terms of gender. I just feel that everyone should try to, in the sense, not just for saying that the equality aspect, but one should be able to practice the equality in terms of gender and disability, instead of just saying. Or one should be able to observe the aspects of the discrimination concerning the gender and disability. Then only the problem, the intensity of it, can be completely grasped or understood. Even now we can find the disabled are being questioned or challenged. So the people don't even know how the people work. Like visually impaired people these days, they are doing lot many things. They are doing math, science. They are becoming technologically much efficient. As the people are trying to prove themselves, so the society can also try to give them the proper nurturing kind of a space. And people often think that by giving the donations to NGOs, then they get this feeling that they are contributing to the society. So the real contribution an individual can give to the society is in terms of providing or teaching the skills that they have. So instead of donating something, you teach something to the underprivileged children, to the disabled children or disabled
Yes,
people.
yes,
In
yes,
that way, the progress of the society can be achieved.
yes, yes. So you have done so much amazing thing. I would definitely. It is really great to have you on my show. And you provide some coaching also for what you have learned? Because
Yes.
you told that students will come, and do you teach something also?
Yes, apart from my college teaching, so whenever there is a requirement, I teach people. Like I take the spoken English classes for the people who speak Telugu. So I teach them. Then I teach music also. All this to the required people. So also I try to counsel the visually impaired or other disabled people whenever they come in contact. So in the sense, like what happens with the people is sometimes they acquire disability in the middle age, or sometimes
Yes,
like when as a student, so they may not get that much confidence, they may not get,
yes,
also they wouldn't have established that much networking with the other disabled people. So whenever I know about any person, so once in a week I myself call that person and ask, or simply I just start a normal conversation for 5 to 10 minutes. Then I just start asking them if they are having any problem, or if they are facing any problem, what's happening to you exactly. So this is the question many people want to be asked. So I
yes,
myself felt that way. Are you okay? Is there something which is bothering you? This kind of
yes,
emotional kind of support is needed for everyone, not only the disabled. Sometimes
yes,
even the non-disabled individual, they want to be asked of this question: are you okay? You appear that you're fine, but are you really okay? Is there something which is bothering you? Are you worried of something? So these are the kind of questions. So I ask these kind of questions to these disabled individuals with whom I have contact with, then I just try to give them some kind of solution, or whatever worked for me. Sometimes like we get the problems based on the technology. Sometimes like whenever we upgrade the software, it won't work. So the various things that we have figured, so we would exchange these things. So in that way I just try to counsel the people. Then it also helps me as well to understand uh, uh, what's happening, or what are the things which would happen to a disabled individual.
yes, yes. So you are just providing the strength.
Yes, I try to speak to them, or for example, if I go somewhere, then if I find someone else also is disabled, then I would go forward and I take that person's mobile number. Then I just try to call them and ask if they require anything.
Yeah, in one of the article, your question was asked that what is your inspiration and strength? So you told that my inspiration and strength is my husband, Krishna.
Yes,
So would you
yes.
like to just throw some light on that?
Definitely. My husband, he helps me a lot. My parents, they were also helping me till my marriage. Then afterwards, my husband used to, like, I got married in 2009. Then I have started doing my MA. Then he used to take me to the university. I have done my diploma and advanced diploma in French as well. Then I have done, I started working as a teaching assistant in the university used to offer a proficiency course. For that I have started doing that as well. Then at the time the books were also not this much available, the e-books were not available. We used to take the print copies from the library and we have to scan them. So he used to help me in that aspect as well. So whatever possible way he used to help me in all this particular aspect. Then
Yeah,
I
you.
have my children as well. My son is in third standard, my daughter is doing her nursery. My son also writes poetry and he sings as well. So
Okay.
I'm glad that they in the sense, like, I'm introduced to a new phase of life, that is parenting. I'm still
Yes.
learning and trying to uh, in the sense, like, rectify my mistakes.
Yes, we are all lifelong learners. Some people just
Yes,
always think that
yes.
when you complete a certain age, your education is over, but they don't
No.
understand that it's life is a journey and we need to do a lifelong learning.
Yes, yes. Life itself is a lifelong. We have to learn. A person can teach us. A book can teach us. So not only the disabled people, sometimes non-disabled people, when they are very good, then I just feel that uh, I have to learn something from this person. So in the
Yes.
sense, like, disability doesn't give any inspiration. Getting inspiration is different and disability is different. A disabled person need not be inspirational, and a non-disabled person can be inspirational. So
Yes.
we should, like, I would tell my disabled friends that we shouldn't take disability at the center all the time.
Yes.
Sometimes we do other mistakes as well. Sometimes it's not the question of disability at all, but we somehow we are creating this illusion which would lead to the self pity, which would actually make us not to progress in life. So we should be able to come out of this feeling that we of bringing everything towards the disability center. So sometimes, like, we find the disabled individuals would say that for us people this is like this. The non the sighted people will never understand us. So this is how they speak. So I would tell these people we shouldn't think that way. We could because they may not know how we are operating on, how, what kind of alternative methods we are using, they may not know. So
Yes.
sometimes they would question us out of curiosity. Maybe they want to learn, or they are also trying to look at the life from a different perspective. For that reason also they are questioning us. They are asking us, they are not questioning us. That we have to understand. Initially, whenever people were questioning, I used to feel that this people is this person is discriminating. Now I have understood that the non-disabled people are curious, or they want to know about us, or they would try to look at things in a different perspective. So in that
Yes.
way we could also be friendlier with others. So that in the sense, like, we have to learn and we have to change ourselves with the progress of the time.
Yeah, you have covered a long journey from a village born girl to now what
Yes.
you are.
Yes.
So, can you just throw a little bit light over to that?
Yes,
Your
the kind of people I meet in my village and the kind of people I meet in a metropolitan city, it is very much different. The context is different. The experiences are different. So, in the sense, like, it happens to be much different. Also, we can just find in the village, like, people may not know exactly. Also, they would think that this is the world. In the sense, they may not know the world is bigger than what they imagine.
yes,
We should be patient with them, because they couldn't have read what I have read, or they couldn't have experienced what I have experienced. So based on that, their world could have been narrowed. So in the sense, like, instead of criticizing them, we could be patient, or we could just try to tell them, and we could just speak them in their own comfortable terms. So
yes,
it's like, whenever in the sense, like, if I go to my place, there is no point to show my knowledge or to speak in the way where they may not understand. So I just feel that let me make them feel more comfortable with the vocabulary that I choose in my language itself, in my mother tongue itself. Let me choose the words which happen to be used. Let me make the people comfortable. Also, let me not, in the sense, like, let me try to bring a change with them, not overnight, slowly, so that
yes,
they can start looking at the things in a different way.
yes, yes,
Also, I feel that it happens to be the opportunities. Like, initially I thought I would study in my village itself. I have done my intermediate there itself, so I would have done my graduation there itself. But once I met few people who were very good, they told me that this is not the only place. You should try to go out of this place so that you can learn more.
yes,
An environment will be given to you where you start looking at yourself differently. So then when I have started my journey in the university, I have seen the people from different places, people from other countries as well. They were all very good, friendlier, very humble as well. Then I thought I should be like this, friendlier, and trying to help whenever possible. So in that way, the university life, the books that I have read, they all shaped my life. So I just feel that it happens to be the privilege. So that's why, otherwise I wouldn't have come to Delhi as an assistant professor, if I haven't got these many opportunities or good people around me. My parents as well, my mother, my father, they used to listen me, and whenever I say that my interest is in literature and I want to be introduced to a new world, they used to agree on that, and they have done a lot in sending me to the university.
Yeah, that
So
is why people just say that you are some of the people to whom you surround with, what books you read, what environment you are. So that all sums up your destiny to where you just belong. Like for your case, it all leads up to the good life and the to the greater position to which you are, right? As compared to the village life.
yes, I am much glad that now I am able to, in the sense like, experience this kind of a life. But otherwise, yes, I wouldn't have learned much. Or also, what I have learned throughout my journey is to accept myself. I am
Yes,
also prone to imperfections. I need not strive for perfection all the time. I need not
yes,
strive to become success all the time. I should continue doing what I'm doing, so not to look for the success or failure. Earlier I used to feel that because I am disabled, I should do everything in a perfect way, because
yes,
people have these prejudices that the disabled people may not do things better than the others. So I used to think that I should do things in a perfect way to please the non-disabled community. But now, because of this journey, I have understood that I shouldn't strive to please anyone. The only one who should be pleased is myself.
yes,
So
right,
work
100%.
accordingly. So if I haven't come here, then I wouldn't have understood, because I have met many people, authors, also people who uh, have traveled to other places. I have met people. Then I have understood this simple fact that all the time we are striving to please others, but we should strive to please ourselves. So
Yes, you.
not to be trapped to this illusion of pleasing the others, or not to be trapped to this feeling of becoming perfect. So
Yes, yes.
these things I'm able to break up.
Yes, like people chase different other people to become someone other. For example,
Yes,
celebrities and all,
yes,
media, politics, but they forget that they are their own hero in the life journey. So what
yes.
you already proved that you are your own hero in life. That's really great to know. Regarding writing, you said that you you can become a writer by having writing a habit. So would you like to give some advice who just want to become a writer?
Yes. Yes, if anyone, if they wish to become a writer, so initially when I have started writing, in a sense, the poems or whatever, I just initially it is not a good craft unless a person is very much talented. So initially, for most of the writings, the writing happens to be much amateurish. So, but we get to this illusion that we are writing in a perfect way. So so the idea is like we should continue to write, and we should read the works of the others. Then we should
Yes,
start thinking, if my writing also is like this, and we should try to appreciate the kind of craft the others are using. So in poetry itself, for example, if we take the aspect of poetry itself, some of these phrases, they happen to be much cliche like. Now they are not being used, like sheets of rain. So sheets of rain, if we take this kind of an expression, this is being already used. how would we come to know that this expression is already being used? Because a poet or writer may think that the first time whenever they get an image, they get this kind of excitement that I have got a unique image. But something is not unique. How would we know? By reading. So if you have read, then you would understand that this is not an it's someone has already written. Also, the ability to accept the criticism from the others. So whenever the people come up with their advices, then we should be able to inculcate and see whether the advice would work or not. So
Yes.
by reading the works of the others, the magazines, the journals, the kind, also we could just continue to send our works to magazines. If they reject, then we should try to polish our writing, then resend. So it happens to be a rigorous kind of a process. So in that way, also we can just find that there are writing workshops as well, creative writing workshops. So we can also look for that. Writing prompts we can have. Writer's block is a problem many writers face.
Yes.
So whenever they face the writer's block, they can come out of it by reading the works of the others, by reading, or if they don't feel like writing at all, they can just try to read. So I have heard someone saying that people get happiness from buying something new, or doing a lot of shopping, or buying something which is a luxurious kind of a thing, or a product from a brand. But poets and singers, they can get happiness easily without spending a rupee, because they have this art within themselves. So people, all the individuals can try doing this. Like if they just feel that they are just feeling bored, at the time also they can just take a writing prompt and try to explore the writer uh, who is there within themselves.
Yes.
So who
Yes.
knows, they can become a writer in future.
Yes. Right. Right.
Accidentally also one can become a writer.
Yes. Yes. So it's actually the art that is more expensive as compared to the physical products that
Yes,
gives
which is,
happiness. Materialistic doesn't give any happiness. You are right.
yes.
So what is your future plan? What is your goal now?
I have started writing a novel. I would like
Okay.
to bring, in the sense, like I'm working on my novel from few years. Then I wish to
Yes.
complete that. Also, I have started. I have translated few of the Telugu poetry collections. Two collections which are written by a poet, Mopur Penchal Narsim is his name. He has written. I have translated his works. Now I wish to translate more works from Telugu to English.
Okay, so you have just always converted from Telugu to English because your mother tongue was Telugu.
Yes. Yes, because my mother tongue is Telugu. I read Telugu works as well. Initially, I couldn't type in Telugu, but later I have learned typing in Telugu. I write poetry in Telugu as well. So I send my poems for competition. So far, I have won 6 competitions. I have won in Telugu poetry competitions. Recently, also this week before, I have won a competition which is conducted by Canada Telugu Talli. So Telugu books also I read. The only thing is the software we have to convert. The English reading software uh, we have to close that software, and we have to start using another software, which is time consuming. So that's why I wish that more development should happen in terms of the screen readers for the Indian languages.
Yeah.
I would advise the people who always look for the projects in their a part of their studies, the technology related, they could work on these softwares which would help the visually impaired people to navigate the virtual space better. So we have challenge, like most of the things we are able to do, like audio editing, video editing, these aspects also we are able to do. But even then, certain aspects will be there. For example, a simple thing like capture. So we can just find, still we have to depend on someone. uh, we have an alternative for that, but that again it requires like usage and all. So we have to configure a different setting for that. So also I would advise the people who complain that they have good free time, they could always register themselves as the scribes for the visually impaired people. These days, like the computer enabled exams are happening. Like people can write their exams on their own using the screen reader in their laptop, but in certain parts of India we don't have this facility. So even now we require the scribes. So if they can all get in touch with the in which is functioning in the local area, then they can tell that people that we would help the people in reading as readers and as scribes. So in
Yeah.
that way they can invest their time rather than doing something which is not really, which won't make them happier. They can invest on these things, like even people who have taken their retirement, so
Yes.
they may have little bit time left with them. So they can all help the people, not only visually impaired, other people as well, like the sign language interpreters. We don't have
Yes.
many. So after the retirement, the individuals can learn the sign language and then they can help. Like we have for example people who have studied very well, because of certain aspects they may not go out for work. So they can also invest their time on doing these things. Like women who are looking after their children sometimes, like because of the circumstances, everyone is not having enough freedom, so because of their circumstances they may not be doing something which is required or which is equal to their education. So they may have this kind of a feeling that I'm not doing something. I have invested these many years in my education, but now I'm not using my education. So they
Yes.
can also make use of their education by making good videos, learning videos for the visually impaired people. They can create audio books and they
Yes.
can upload. So in
Yes.
this way, every individual we can find they can try very well for the betterment of the society.
Yeah, yeah. Each one has to contribute. Each one has to take responsibility and have to contribute towards the betterment of the society. Yes, you are right.
Yes, that's what I feel. They can all contribute to the society. Just look for the creative ways to contribute to the society.
Yes. Anything else? Any last words you would like to add?
I think
Let me just
yes,
remind the audience that she has also started the YouTube channel, right?
yes.
I'm just looking. What was the name? I just
Initially, I have titled it as Telugu Taruni, TELUGU TARUNI. Now you can even find it with my name itself, Jyotsna Phanija slash
okay.
YouTube.
Let me just have a look, and then we can just share, and we can let people know that she's having her own channel, and you used to share singing and all that, right? On that
Yes,
channel,
I
your
yes,
poetry,
yes,
singing, and all that. Okay, let me
yes,
just
yes.
share the screen so that people will be able to know. So this is her channel, guys. So you can just go through it. She does singing, writing, poetry, all the stuff on this channel. You can just check that out. Yeah, so Jyotsna, if you want to say anything else, you can just contribute. And I would like to know people that if you are having any kind of story, if you want to share your story, you can just contact us and we will be able to take you as an interview and schedule you on our show. So Jyotsna, over to you. You can just sum up what you just want to, because from my end it's all over and over to you.
Yeah, I'm so glad to speak about myself and the thoughts which I have so far. I wish that
Yes.
people would listen and people would start looking at the things in a different
Yes.
perspective. So, thank you again.
Yeah, you are welcome always, and keep your spirit up. Right, I'm glad that whatever you have achieved, whatever you have done, you have contributed so much. Right, so much towards the society, and you have Also just let us know the important preventive measures to take, how how any normal people, any normal layman can help to, for the betterment of the society. And you have provided so much value to this video. So might be in the future we can just talk next, maybe in the next episode, and we can explore more, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so see you from my end. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
bye. Yeah.
Thank you.